Okay, so the Hollywood Reporter fires away with their new cover that animates and glorifies the war between Baldoni and Blake. What? You're still talking about? Yes, we're still talking about Baldoni and Blake because it just keeps getting weirder and weirder. This is the feud that keeps on giving or taking away. I don't know. It's Hot Mics with Billy Bush, presented by our friends at LA Golf. All right, here we go. We are live on TuneIn and YouTube. Blake Lively fires back, calling the cover of the Hollywood Reporter sexist. Have you seen the cover of the Hollywood Reporter? It's got Blake as a biblical David attacking Baldoni's Goliath, and she's got a slingshot, but instead of firing a stone, she's firing a smartphone. So she and her team very upset by this, and they put out a statement. The Hollywood Reporter should be ashamed of itself. The framing in this picture is outrageously insulting, as it plays into every sexist trope about women who dare file a workplace complaint, turning them into the aggressor and suggesting they deserve the retaliation that comes their way. They're saying the Hollywood Reporter should be ashamed of itself? Hold on. I mean, how about all the lampooning that Ryan Reynolds did as, you know, playing this character in Deadpool and Wolverine, Nice Pool, right? And Blake plays Lady Pool, and they have a scene where Lady Pool kills Nice Pool right in front of a flower shop. Of course, Nice Pool with his man bun and the whole thing. All the mockery by a high-powered, you know, Hollywood A-list guy on his wife's producer and co-star, like. And then we have on the cover of the Hollywood Reporter, Blake is depicted as David the underdog. Little Baldoni, the man bun wearing Baldoni as Goliath? He's no Goliath. Ryan Reynolds is definitely a Hollywood Goliath, but when you think of Hollywood Goliaths, I'll tell you, Baldoni doesn't go in there. But now, all eyes are on Jenny Slate, who is a co-star of Blake's, plays her Biffle, her best friend, and it ends with us. The Hollywood Reporter wrote on Friday, it has learned more about the nature of the complaint that Jenny Slate lodged, which is referenced in court documents, but with Jenny's name redacted. It says that Jenny was creeped out over an interaction with Jamie Heath. Jamie Heath is Baldoni's producing partner on the film, works at Wayfair with him. That they had, you know, this is a complaint that Jenny, you know, did not like her apartment when they were filming in New York. It was too small. She's got a baby, the whole thing. She's like, I want to leave. And she's talking to Jamie Heath, but she says, I can't because I have a $15,000 security deposit I won't get back. To which Jamie Heath says, well, we'll cover it. Wayfair would be happy to cover, you know, that $15,000 for you, because he said, look, it's, you know, motherhood is nothing more important than motherhood, the sanctity of motherhood. And then sources say that that Jenny feels he focused intensely on the sanctity of motherhood and the role of a mother. And it was a little sort of overbearing, like, okay, you know, whatever. But she took the $15,000 and changed the apartments. So overall, pretty nice thing. I mean, if he's a little, you know, preachy about it, or that it comes with, you know, the sanctity of motherhood or whatever he's filing it underneath, they still, like, paid $15,000 to move the apartment that you chose because it was a bad one. I don't know. Pretty nice. So anyway, the Hollywood Reporter, this major article that everyone's been consuming over the weekend, they changed their story multiple times. Back and forth between, you know, Jenny filed a complaint with Sony, and then they changed the wording online again. They went back to the article and amended it. That then, you know, back to she just filed a complaint. Now it's she shared concerns, and Sony became aware, and then they informed Wayfair. So it's still very confusing as to whether she actually filed something, an actual complaint, or had whisperings, and Sony heard about it, and then they followed up. But why would you change this article, you know, 4 different times? Zach Peter on Instagram, this is a guy who's totally all over this stuff, He is the one who's asking, what happened here? Is it like William Morris picked up the phone or Blake's publicist or, what happened? Hey, change that wording. We need to make sure it's right. But still it leads to the idea that no one knows if Jenny Slate actually filed the complaint. But what's coming to light here, back to this weird interaction between Jenny Slate and moving her apartment and Jamie Heath, Baldoni's producing partner who, helped her do that and gave her the 15 grand. What's coming to light is the Baha'i faith, which Justin, Jamie, and their producing overlord, the boss of Wayfair, Steve Sarowitz, they all are parishioners or followers of Baha'i. The faith is based on notions of humanity, universalism, and strict equality among men and women. Very gender equal. Premarital sex is forbidden, as is the consumption of alcohol or drugs, and prayer and fasting and meditation are all main rituals. It's very hippy-dippy, groovy, stuff, it seems to me. Baldoni's whole vibe emanates from Baha'i, right? Heath, Sarowitz too, but Baldoni's definitely got this whole gender equal. He calls himself a feminist. So he's definitely, all in there, which means which sheds takes away from the idea that he could be completely opposite, totally and completely creepy. Anyway, look, Hollywood tolerates like Tom Cruise and his Scientology tents on movies, right? Madonna and Ashton and Demi and all of them with the Kabbalah bracelets, the red yarn bracelets and Kabbalah. And so, to whatever they are, Scientology, Kabbalah, Baha'i, whatever. I mean, most people in the normal world chalk it up to weird celebrities with their weird things that, that they latch onto to help them get through the night. I don't know. But to whoever's producing a movie and this is your religion or your thing, I would say just like, keep your shit from everyone else. Let people do their thing. You don't need to force it down anyone's throat and, say, listen, we're all going to hold hands and have a Baha'i prayer before the movie. And I would just be respectful of people's difference. But this is this whole thing is a real, 360 shit show. I mean, you got Blake and Ryan. Now they're all in. And, they made fun of Baldoni and the nice pool character, and they made jokes on SNL, and now they're claiming Blake is got PTSD and she's anxiety. This is really taking a toll on her. Well, why would you joke about any of this stuff? They've got a lot on the line. Ryan is a big client of William Morris Endeavor, the powerful Hollywood agency, and now they're involved. You got the CEO of William Morris, Ari Emanuel, is defending them publicly. He fired Justin Baldoni. Baldoni is over in Hawaii with his kids, but this guy is obviously apoplectic. He's gone through this whole rigmarole. You got Isabel Ferrer and Jenny Slate, two other women who are actors on this, and now they've been implicated as having filed complaints as well. Blake is going to be counting on them to come forward, or her whole case is dead if these women don't come forward and say, yeah, Baldoni is a creep, and so's the company, and, she needs them to back her up. And don't forget Taylor Swift. Don't forget Taylor Swift and all this. She wants this to just go away. Think of Taylor Swift's, her album has nothing but Easter eggs in it, right? And Swifties get to go and find the Easter eggs and figure out the little hidden messages that's part of her game. It's terrific. I think she's brilliant at it. But Deadpool and Wolverine is loaded with Easter eggs, right? Oh, Lady Pool kills Nice Pool. Lady Pool, played by Blake Lively, kills Nice Pool, Ryan, in a man bun playing Nice Pool. So, basically Blake kills Baldoni in front of a flower shop in Deadpool and Wolverine. Like, they've gone way out of their way, spent millions of dollars to mock this guy. So, but those little Easter eggs that are all over a major movie, that's how far they went to mock this guy. Taylor Swift is going to get deposed in all of this by Brian Friedman and Baldoni's legal team. There's no way she's not going to be. And then they got to find out, well, all this Easter egg stuff, were you advising them on Easter egg planting? Were you involved or whatever? Taylor Swift wants out of this in a huge way. She can't take another minute of this, and the friendship is without question, just over. So, I got this idea. I was thinking about it over the weekend. I got a solution here. You want to hear a big solution? Okay. I'm going to take a little sip of water for this. This is going to let me blow your mind. Where's Eve right now? I want to hear her saying, let me blow your mind. Okay. So Baldoni, right, gets the rights to these movies from Colleen Hoover. He's got the IP. The author of It Ends With Us. The next movie is It Starts With Us. Quick synopsis. Lily, currently played by Blake Lively, and Ryle Baldoni get divorced. They have a baby Emerson, a little girl, 11 months old, almost a year. So in the movie, Lily runs into Atlas, again, her young love. Sparks fly. Ryle gets jealous, turns into a rage, right? Baldoni's character in the movie has anger issues. He's abusive. He flies into a rage when he sees undergarments strewn about the floor of her apartment. He gets really pissed. He lays hands on her in the movie, goes after him, goes after the guy, Atlas, goes to his restaurant. They get into a thing. Eventually, Lily gets him to commit to anger management. And then, not to ruin it for you, but everyone knows the book. Atlas and Lily get married, the whole thing. Look, I think Baldoni's going to win this legal battle. I don't know if it's going to be in a courtroom a year from now or, they're going to settle or whatever, and he's going to get the apology he wants, or there's going to be, if they both somehow find an exit door, he's going to look good. Either way, Baldoni comes out, I believe, unless they can destroy Baha'i and make it like a threatening religion or something, Baldoni comes out on top. And there's going to be blood on the floor, right? Millions of dollars have been spent. Baldoni's not going to collect $400 million, but I think he deserves something at this point. Then what? Look, the first movie, the one we're talking about, is a movie that cost $25 million to make, and it earned $350 million. That is enough to get Sony, Wayfair, everybody, movie theater owners in a tizzy. Where's the sequel? Well, you got to make the sequel, right? And now I turn to a timeless tenet of Stoic philosophy that says the obstacle is the way. In life, we've all been there. When you got something that's just like overwhelming you and it feels like it's holding you back in life or it's killing your career. I know this, right? The bus tape, whatever, that people, NBC News weaponized and tried to kill my career. I didn't work for 3 years. I thought no one's ever going to hire me again. I've been shot and killed and help. Well, the obstacle is the way. I'm going to turn around here if you're watching on YouTube. What is the name of this podcast right here? It's Hot Mics with Billy Bush. Okay, you go right through the center of it. No, the mics are hot. This time I know they're on. And let's have some great discussions and move forward. So I think this is what needs to happen. Baldoni and Blake have terrible tension in their relationship in real life. They hate each other. They're trying to kill each other. We're all going along for the ride. So do Lily and Ryle, the characters in the movie. Here's what Baldoni does. You show that all this Baha'i stuff, the Baha'i is, and you really are that beautiful, soulful, man-bun feminist. You're not going to block out Blake Lively, even though she's done such horrible things to you. You're not going to push her out. No. Never let bad blood get in the way of a massively successful sequel. What you're going to do is you're going to hire her again. And think about this, $350 million the movie, the first one made? This one makes $700 million. $700 million because everybody wants to go to the theater and live 2 hours of tension between the two of them. And we know it's real, it's palpable. And then everybody makes money. And then if you want to be really big, Baldoni, you give her the producing credit. Yeah, she's a producer on this. She gave a lot, right? Including her dignity for this thing. And I don't know. I wouldn't let her go into the editing room and do her own edit of the film like she likes to do. Maybe one scene. Blake, what do you think? Do we move the flowers in this scene? I'm going to leave it up to you. Would you move them over the left shoulder or over the right shoulder? You decide. And she goes, I think the right, you know what? Thank you for your input. Baldoni takes the high road. Everybody gets super rich, and you build Baha'i temples all over Hollywood. And we all join Baha'i. Okay, now we're going too far. But I do believe that that would be an amazing move and very lucrative. All right. Done with Blake and Baldoni for now, but I can promise you not forever. Although it should be slowing down a little bit, right? I mean, where can this go? Trial's set for March 2026. So today is a big day. Today is the 3rd anniversary of the Russian invasion of Ukraine. Not the other way around, Donald. And today, the United States joined Russia, this has just happened today, to vote against a UN General Assembly resolution condemning Russia's war against Ukraine in a stunning shift from years of U.S. policy. So now we are with Russia saying Ukraine is this is now crazy. I ask every episode, does the good outweigh the bad with Trump? Because there are some good things that he's done, for sure. You know, our federal budget is bloated, and the border needed needed to be declared an emergency. We needed to shut that down. The gender ideology, we're going on with this forever. Okay, there's lots of things that he did that are good. But the outrage here is real. I mean, while asserting that Ukraine started the war, Trump calls Zelensky a dictator without elections, while at the same time he's courting Lord Farquaad there, Vladimir Putin, as a new business partner, I assume on our behalf. I mean, I guess we're all going to benefit from the great deals, huge deals, that we do with Vlad. My friends, we are so weary, but also somewhat impressed from the flurry of Trump activity from day one back in the Oval Office, that we either don't have time or energy to be correctly outraged by abandoning Ukraine. I mean, Zelensky a dictator? A notably insane comment. Putin, who's been president for 25 years and claims a salary of $140,000, but according to Fortune magazine, and every one of our instincts, is actually worth $200 billion. He's had his opponents silenced or killed. Long live Navalny. He's not the despot, authoritarian mafia boss that we absolutely know he is. What? That topless, preening little peachik didn't brazenly invade Ukraine and sacrifice hundreds of thousands of lives. He didn't permanently imprison our teachers, writers, and basketball players for dime bags of weed. I mean, Trump told me almost 20 years ago, when the cameras had stopped rolling and I had just pressed him on his assertions that The Apprentice was #1 on television, the #1 show. Billy, it's #1. He said, Billy, do not worry. Hey, don't worry about all that. People don't care. They don't care. You just tell them and they believe you. Okay, Ukraine started the war. They'll believe that. Zelensky is a dictator. They'll believe that. Trump kept repeating that keep this in mind, he kept repeating that he rightfully won the re-election in 2020. At that time, 55% of Republicans believed it. Now, 69% of Republicans believe that. Currently, 6% of bona fide idiots believe Ukraine started the war. What will this be in 4 years? 6% now? Will it be 16? Will it be 20? Will it be 30% of people thinking Ukraine, if you just say it enough, they're going to believe it? Remember, he said this to me. He said it to me straight. Don't worry. You just tell them and they believe you. And it is now on the biggest stage. So on the Ukraine front, Donald makes a legitimate point. Let's give him some, I believe, about the hundreds of billions of dollars that we've given in aid for, not much tangible in return. But to say that we, maybe the only thing we can say is we saved Europe again for all that money. But look, Europe definitely needs to pay more. I love Trump says, there's a big, beautiful ocean that separates us. What do we care about Russia? I mean, it's Europe's problem. It can't be Europe's problem. We need them. They are our allies. We will need them again. The hysterical Nellie Bowles. Folks, do you subscribe to the Free Press? Bari Weiss, her publication. She's the founder and editor-in-chief. Her wife, Nellie Bowles, both of them used to work at the New York Times and Before they got fired, they left, and they've started the Free Press, which is only, to me, it's the only seriously centrist publication out there. I can trust them, right? Because I'm definitely not a super righty, and I'm not a super lefty. I'm kind of bouncing in that middle, where I think the rest of us are too, by the way. I think we're all centrist. The problem is we're just not radical centrists. We need to get radical. More on that in a second. But Nellie Bowles wrote about the war. It's a war that all smart people said would end quickly. A war that is dragged on for years as young men slaughter each other over, honestly, some pretty miserable land. How blunt. And this about the European leaders not pulling their weight. They are smart, lazy people who take 3 months of vacation every year and come back only to regulate our companies and call us capitalist trash before going on another vacation. Yeah, they need to pay up. I wonder what Melania of Slovenia feels about us abandoning Ukraine and essentially Europe. We're going to need our allies in Europe one day, and they will remember this. He's left Ukraine out of discussions about its future. None of this egregious BS is about anything other than paying back Zelensky for not launching a corruption investigation into Joe Biden years ago. Remember, after the perfect call, and Donald insisted that he do. Take a look into Joe Biden in 2019. Well, Trump's a lot of debatable things, but one thing that's not debatable is he is vengeful, very vengeful. We know this. And now Zelensky, he says, is a failed B-level comedian. Now listen, when he is vengeful, he is funny. He said he failed B-level comedian masquerading as a duly elected president. I'm aware elections have been suspended in Ukraine due to the fact that the country is under attack. But Zelensky does have an approval rating of about 57% last we checked, not 4%, as Donald says. Quick reminder on the domestic front regarding Trump: reclaiming the southern border, attacking government waste, ending divisive and racist DEI policies, and ushering back a meritocracy. These are good things, right? It's important just to lay out that an honest landscape. But here's what sucks. He has subverted the rule of law to achieve his ends. Federal judges and U.S. attorneys can't keep up. 2 of them resigned honorably in New York, and 6 staff members, when the Justice Department said, drop your investigation into the mayor of New York, Eric Adams, who had his hand out with the Turkish government trying to get donations. And look, something that needs to be looked at. They quit. But all of Trump's overreach is not just the king's fault. It's the fault of the more centrist, supposedly level-headed leaders of the party. I think of John Thune, the Senate Majority Leader. Mike Johnson, right? Speaker of the House. Are you guys beholden to power or the people? To what's right or what's popular at the moment in time? You will be remembered for what you did not do, what you did not say when you were needed. And if you need enticement to resist what is short-sighted and wrong, be aware of what Nellie Bowles' wife, the aforementioned editor-in-chief of the Free Press, Bari Weiss, just wrote over the weekend. If a political movement does not police its ranks, does not draw lines, if it neglects to protect its borders, if it does not defend its sacred values, it cannot long endure. The Democrats just imploded all over the place because of this. So much so that Donald Trump won the popular vote, the first Republican president to do that since George W. in 2004. The far, far left, with all of its pronouns and protests, eradicated the center left. Elizabeth Warren, Kamala, AOC, Ilhan Omar eclipsed normal thinking people like Andy Beshear, the governor of Kentucky, Josh Shapiro, the governor of Pennsylvania, J.B. Pritzker, the governor of Illinois, Bill Clinton, even Hillary Clinton. And they let it happen, even though they disagreed. They knew the far left was crazy, but they let it happen because they were scared to buck the movement and lose the in crowd. Right? You can see it right now. Mike Johnson, the Speaker of the House, he's like, oh, man, who's up for re-election? We got to be careful how we handle this. How about just resolve? How about just what you believe? right? How about principle? The Republicans are pumped and primed to repeat the same mistake. It's amazing how quickly things happen, too. The far, far right will eclipse the right center if those moderate normies don't stand up for our collective foundational principles. Mike, John Thune, stand up for the belief in the inalienable rights of each individual, that we are all created in the image of God, and that it is that and not our ethnicity or our IQ score that gives us our worth and that makes us all equal. These are the words of Bari Weiss. I'm still talking about her article. It is a rejection of mob violence. It is the view that the West is good and that America is good and that we deserve our heroes along with our whole complex history. Yeah, it's a mess, but we deserve to have them. Those values are not left and they're not right. In our recent election, did the moderates and the centrists stand up and take back control from the crazy left and what Kamala was trying to do? Or did they just choose the lesser evil? I got to say, I like Trump. I mean, I like Trump personally. I like him. I think he's funny as can be. He was maybe the greatest reality television host. I mean, Snooki was up there, but Trump was good, really good. Remember, they extended that boardroom to like almost the whole show because he was so good at pitting former playmates against, reality TV stars in fights over lemonade sales on Fifth Avenue. Nobody could pit a fight like him. I always liked him. Still do. I mean, if I was with him, I'd laugh if he didn't, trash me first on Twitter. But his Achilles heel is his ego. I mean, his narcissism, his need to humiliate. And he cares about his legacy of having made America really rich, like him, but with not much regard for the opportunity costs. Like, what are the costs of abandoning Ukraine, of joining Russia in the UN Security Council, of declaring Zelensky a dictator? Like, what is going on? I mean, it's unbelievable. Look at the German elections that just took place. On top, the Christian Democratic Union, the CDU, with their leader, the new chancellor-to-be, Friedrich Merz. He wins 28.5%. Basically, the MAGA movement, okay, so that's the center-right, okay? Germany's right center party. That's good, right? But right behind them, for the first time ever, is the AfD, Alternative for Germany, Alice Weidel, 20%. And then the center-left people, 16.5%. It has always been the right centers and the left centers in Germany. Never has there been a third party to break into those ranks. And now they got the second amount of votes. They got 20%, which is unbelievable. So what people in Germany basically said is, we want the conservative agenda, we want these changes, but we don't want the leader. So they're giving the right center, Friedrich Merz, a chance to say, okay, I hope you heard us. We like some of the things that these far, far right people are talking about. Enact them. And really that boils mostly down for them to immigration and energy. But, we want to make our own. We want to stop, the idea of buying Russian oil was a huge mistake that Angela Merkel made years ago and stuck with it. And immigration, legal and illegal, stop. We need to build our own country, but we're going to give this level-headed right centrist guy the chance to do it. That's what Germany just said. So I don't know if it's a foreshadowing, but I'm telling you, all the good stuff that the Trumpster's doing, he's now starting to do some really, really damaging, short-sighted stuff. Okay, so we get rich off deals with Russia. We are fracturing relationships and allies that we need. So when is the center going to stand up? The radical center, right? It can't just be boring. The middle is by definition boring. But a radical middle that says enough, you crazies on the left, you crazies on the right. You know what I'm saying? Steve, my guy. Oh, what's going on, fellas?
Yeah, so at JCPH is saying, is Don going really insane now with these Ukraine comments? Do you think this is, by far too much, or is it just more Don, basically?
That's from the chat on our YouTube right there. So, by the way, fire away anytime. We are totally live here on YouTube and on TuneIn. Don's a provocateur. I mean, we know that. He loves to poke the bear. He loves to create. Everything's a show. What happened after the inauguration? What's the first thing he did? Invite all the cameras into the Oval Office and do a stand-up comedy act, an improv act, while signing all kinds of executive orders. Has he lost his mind? No, but he's definitely, I don't think, but he's surrounded himself. Remember the first administration, there were all kinds of experienced Republicans. They convinced Donald to have some experienced, Bush people and, establishment people. Basically, they wanted them in there to keep Don from being his worst self. This time, Don went way out of his way to make sure that those people aren't there, that only the real loyalists are there. Like Marco Rubio is the Secretary of State. But Donald's, real estate buddy, Steve Witkoff, is actually the effective Secretary of State. Witkoff is cutting all the deals. I'm not saying he's, he might be good. In some respects, I've seen him do some good things. But, yeah, that's what happened. He's now, he's done it by design, and, there's reason to be nervous about it, for sure. Anyway, 3 years since that invasion, let's all just agree that Russia is the aggressor and that Putin is Lord Farquaad from Shrek. When they take him off horseback, they have to pull him out of his boots, and they stand him down. And that he is a despot and a dictator and an authoritarian. And little Zelensky, remember how supportive we were of little Zelensky? Like, he said, I don't want to ride. We offered to take him out of there and bring him to a safe place when Russia attacked. He said, I'm going to stay here in his green T-shirt. He said, I'm staying. I don't need a ride. I need ammunition. It was one of the great lines. Anyway, let's see where this goes, but hopefully some smart people will get involved here, and I'll keep talking too. Coming up, if there is, on a lighter note, so much Meghan Markle backlash, what are we going to do? Why does Netflix keep throwing money at Meghan Markle? We'll explain why. I happen to know why, and we'll talk about her new show coming up, her latest posts. Trump is even tragic. He said, I'm not going to deport Harry. He's already got enough problems with Meghan. That's when Trump is funny to me, because none of that really matters. We'll get into Meghan's latest moves here in a second. It's Hot Mics with Billy Bush, and we are presented by LA Golf. We're back in 60 seconds. Hot Mics with Billy Bush brought to you by LA Golf. Upgrade your game. Take your golf experience to the next level at lagolf.com. And for all the sports fans out there, don't miss a beat with TuneIn Premium. Unlock access to the biggest college football and basketball games, every NHL game with no blackouts, and commercial-free ESPN radio to keep you up to date on all the breaking news around the sports world. Plus, enjoy over 300 commercial-free music stations to suit every mood or activity, whether you're into today's hits, classic rock, smooth jazz, country roads, or anything in between. There's even over 100 mood stations to help you unwind and chill out. Stay informed with commercial-free CNN, Fox News Radio, MSNBC, and more with fewer ads and no interruptions. Tune in to 100,000 global radio stations and podcasts and get breaking news and sports talk anytime, anywhere. Go to tunein.com/premium and sign up today to unlock it all. Welcome back to Hot Mics with Billy Bush, brought to you by LA Golf. So, on the women's empowerment note, how far does that go? How far does that reach? It definitely has its limitations because women everywhere are calling out Blake Lively. Like, no, don't roll this guy. Some people think women love to hate on other women. I don't know about that, but they, I think things are fair, right? Toxic masculinity. Yeah, sure, that exists. Toxic femininity. Yeah, that exists too. But I don't know. Some people, people are really hard on Meghan Markle. With her, it's a girl, please. No. So they've been force-fed too many times on on women's empowerment luncheons. So, there was a women's empowerment luncheon hosted by, a different magazine like Glamour or Elle, where Reese Witherspoon gets introduced by Laura Dern, and they gush endlessly about how much they've overcome so much misogyny to literally dominate the town. I think that's maybe why Blake thought that this would be easier. She would just ride that wave. Except for it's just not true in this instance. Like I said last episode, and I just said it before, there's toxic humanity. Humans suck, and they're beautiful. Equally. Both. Meghan Markle launched her new business. Name change alert. Maybe you've heard. American Riviera Orchard is now out. And the new name is As Ever. Like as it always has been, As Ever. Here's Meghan explaining why she changed.
It's recording.
Okay.
Oh, and Harry's on the camera.
I'm shocked we've kept this a secret for so long. In 2 weeks, my show is coming out, which I'm so excited for. And also my business, which I think there's been a lot of curiosity about. And I've been waiting for a moment to share a name that I had secured in 2022. And this is the moment. And it's called As Ever. As Ever essentially means as it's always been. And if you followed me since 2014 with the TIG, you know I've always loved cooking and crafting and gardening. This is what I do, and I haven't been able to share it with you in the same way for the past few years, but now I can. So as things are starting to trickle out there, I wanted you to hear it from me first. Of course, there will be fruit preserves. I think we're all clear at this point that jam is my jam.
Jam is my jam. Oh my God. So excited. Everyone's been asking. It's like undercover. Here comes my new business. Everybody's excited. Who is giving Meghan a massive platform to pimp all these household and gardening goods? Netflix. Her neighbor in Montecito, up there in Santa Barbara, which is really nice. And by the way, let's review some of the people up there. Oprah. Ellen DeGeneres, she left, though. She went over to Europe, England. But the big guy up there with Rob Lowe, and let's not forget Kevin Costner and such. Ted Sarandos, the big dog of Netflix. He is in Meghan's cabal, and he is all in on the ex-royals. He's long on Markle. So with Love Meghan, she's got the As Ever is her brands. Those are her like jams and household products and, soaps and different things. But her show with Love Meghan launches in a couple weeks. And that is on is it next week, I think. Why do women love to hate on Meghan Markle? Why does Trump love to hate on Meghan Markle? Opportunist? Grifter? Liar? Girl, I will say on that front, you knew he was a prince. She tried to say, I didn't know Harry was a prince. Oh, come on. Took our favorite prince from his family. She's up against a lot, I guess. But Harry made his choice. But why was it ever a choice? If your spouse ever says it's me or your family, you got to get, I would think if you can't work that out, you got to get rid of them. That's for sure. The comment sections, every time she posts one of these videos, is brutal. Is she being unfairly treated? I mean, hit me in the chat. I don't know. I can't figure it out because I think she's gorgeous, and that always, it does affect. I think she's gorgeous. I like her outfit choice. Maybe it was planned. I love the jeans and the white button down. Steve, is someone in the chat?
Yeah, Jude74 is asking, with all this with Meghan, would you have him on the show? Do we have him on the show? I think I know the answer, but what
immediately.
Would you do with that?
By the way, how would I change if Meghan was in here? I would definitely have to say, why are you a lightning rod? Like, why do people feel such passion about Meghan Markle one way or the other? It's like they say about country music. There's no in between, right? You hate it or you love it. I happen to love it. But I would love to talk to Meghan Markle, but maybe I'll, see if Ted Sarandos will let her out to promote. She's not one of those people that really needs to promote because everyone's going to talk about it anyway. But I asked Martha Stewart, hey, Meghan wants to be the next you. And she said, well, I hope she's willing to work hard. Martha's not just a Snoop's best friend on TV. She works really hard. Coming up, we're going to do some hot mics, hot takes, our full breakdown of last night's White Lotus. Are you watching the White Lotus? We're 2 episodes in, and already we've seen Patrick Schwartz, his Schwarzenegger, We've seen the Schwarzenegger. And last night, Walton Goggins and his young lover just full nude. I mean, Mike White is coming at us hard. Lots of twists, turns, nooks, crannies, Easter eggs. Given the Walton Goggins scene, the intimacy coordinator had to be called to the Thailand set. And I would say there's probably 5 of them, or there should be. Hot Mics with Billy Bush, presented by LA Golf. Got to take a quick 60. Be right back. Hot Mics with Billy Bush, sponsored by LA Golf. Take your swing to the next level with LA Golf's cutting-edge technology. Visit lagolf.com and upgrade your game. And for all you sports fanatics, go big with TuneIn Premium and unlock the biggest college football and basketball games, every NHL game with no blackouts, and commercial-free ESPN radio. Stay in the game all year long with TuneIn Premium. Plus, premium users can enjoy over 300 commercial-free music stations, from today's hits to smooth jazz, classic rock, country roads, and everything in between. Hear all your favorite stations and more, all in one place, and keep music flowing. If you want to stay up to date with the latest news, TuneIn has got you covered. Listen to your favorite news stations like CNN, Fox News Radio, MSNBC, and more, all with fewer ads so you can get back to what's important. Premium listeners can listen to over 100,000 global stations and podcasts on TuneIn, so you can stay connected with breaking news, sports talk, and top music anytime, anywhere. Unlock all of it by visiting tunein.com/premium and sign up today. Welcome back to Hot Mics with Billy Bush, presented by LA Golf, as you just heard. Thank you, guys. I, by the way, played a little golf yesterday with one of the great quarterbacks of all time, Aaron Rodgers, man. And he hits the ball a country mile. Got to say, everybody was looking at my LA Golf drivers saying, why is the Bushman so straight? I held him off like you wouldn't believe.
Bill, you could break some news here.
No.
Did he tell you where he wants to play next year?
Well, I mean,
it had to go. 18 holes is 4 hours.
Well,
and then maybe a cocktail.
You know what? There should have been permission on that. You shouldn't have said that, because now people are saying, well, how hot are your mics? You're not saying. Yeah. Rob, you put me on the spot here.
Well,
I don't know that I can do that. That would be an obvious
thing to ask.
I know that there are very few places that he could go.
Right.
I mean, he could go right next door from the New York Jets to the New York Giants.
But
that would be incredible.
It's not completely his choice. The team has to want him.
There's the Las Vegas Raiders. That could be a possible place for him. There's also right here in Los Angeles. Because if you look
he may go to the Giants.
He could go to the Giants, or right here in L.A.
I'm talking about the Rams quarterback.
The Rams quarterback, there's talk that Stafford could go to the Giants.
Yes, $50 million he wants.
For $50 million. But you know what? He's already 40% of the entire salary allotment for the Rams.
Right.
How much more can you possibly give a guy if you're trying to build a team for the Super Bowl? And you know, Rodgers, if he played for the Rams, would be less. And Sean McVay is a great coach. And that, my friends, is a great spot for Aaron Rodgers. In my opinion, I was hammering Rodgers for a long time, but that's a great spot for him.
And he likes it here.
Well, he lives here.
He likes it here.
Who doesn't like it here? Very beautiful.
He likes it.
Well, we've been through a few things, but let's see what happens.
All right, Bill, let's talk about White Lotus.
Oh, my God. It's so good.
These numbers are just in. 3.4 million viewers watched last night. That's the first night it's out.
That's
so
just
increase.
Yeah.
That's 40% more than watched episode 1.
Oh, so it's already. So it means everybody caught up on the first episode and then they joined in. Now, the thing about streaming is if you can capture FOMO, that's an incredible thing, because you always know there's business to do after the original airing.
And at some point today, Bill, we should announce that we're going to be the after show for White Lotus.
We are going to we've made some moves to become the official after show for White Lotus, to really just on it. We're going to go crazy with this show. It's the best show. I mean, I have to say, as far as, texts that I send to people after an episode, it's that and pretty much nothing else.
All right, so there's a lot of mixed reactions to Patrick Schwarzenegger.
To the full frontal scene?
Week 1 full frontal.
Well, I asked him directly, was that your own, or was that a prosthetic? Now, just to reset, season 1, Stevie Zahn had a body double.
That's correct.
When they showed his privates. And then last year, Theo James definitely had
that was unbelievable.
God, he said that rolling pin was not his, because, if I have to see that, I've already got enough, insecurity.
Well, people are discussing the massage scene last night.
Oh, wow.
Where immediately, it was all ridiculous. Immediately, Patrick got a little excited.
He's getting a massage.
But it was like a 30 seconds
It's in
he's
Thailand,
already-
at the Four Seasons in Thailand, and the woman's rubbing him, and he plays this incredibly horny, young, meathead kid, and he's hitting on everybody wherever he goes, and she starts the massage, and all of a sudden he's, as they say, pitching a tent.
Yes,
he's pitching a tent. We're all wondering, just was that on a crank? Is that CGI?
How did that happen? Exactly.
There's no way he's a method actor in that case.
Right.
But that's just the one scene. The Walton Goggins scene.
We're going to get to that. We're not getting there yet.
Oh, I want to get to it.
No, we're not getting to Walton Goggins.
You're making me wait?
Yes.
Too much foreplay. I want to get right there.
Leslie Bibb, Carrie Coon, and Michelle Monaghan. They reconnected on a girls' trip. They can't stop talking about each other behind each other's back. These are supposed to be their friends from like 5th grade on. But once one goes away to go to sleep, maybe to the bathroom, go get a drink, what happens, Bill?
This is brilliant Mike White, the writer, creator, director. Look at those 3 women. It's on the screen. Michelle Monaghan. Leslie Bibb is so good in this thing. But when it's the Bermuda Triangle. 3 people is a disaster, especially with women. Because they love to chit-chat and gossip about the details. So they've got 2 are going here, 1 goes to sleep. They talk about her. Then the next time there's 2, they're always talking about the 3rd. And it just keeps going around. And they're all doing it. And it's very uncomfortable. I have to say, I get really uncomfortable.
Every situation on that show is uncomfortable. When anybody's sitting down to have dinner or lunch.
Oh, always over a meal, right?
It's always uncomfortable.
They sit down. You can feel the tension. Chris Isaacs plays the father, Patrick Schwarzenegger's father. Parker Posey's the mother. She's whacked out on lorazepam. She eats more Ativans and
She's a total pill popper.
Total pill popper.
Yeah.
He's in some kind of major financial trouble.
He's in trouble.
He's in a lot of trouble.
Yes.
And it's coming down on him. The feds are coming for him. Patrick is trying to screw everybody on the grounds. Including, this is
weird.
No, what's really uncomfortable is amongst the siblings, Patrick and his younger brother and younger sister, there's sexual tension, which I only Mike White can walk this line, and I'm hoping this doesn't go further. I'm not wired for that. I can't.
I don't think it will.
I can't consume that.
They had that the other son and the daughter had that conversation while they were on the hammocks in the water.
And he said,
"You're so beautiful," or "You're so hot. How come you haven't had sex?" or something to that effect.
And she says, "How do you know I have? Why are you even asking me that? You're my brother. You're so weird. This is so gross." And then they leave these things. And I hope it by the way, between episode 1 to 2, it's already gotten a little weirder, I hope. And I know it's going to get weirder. Mike White loves weird. He loves weird.
All right, you started to talk about it, but the highlight of last night's episode, Walton Goggins' intimate love scene with his much younger girlfriend, Amy Lou Wood. Now, we're rolling it up. Now, there's some information that I have found out about this scene that Amy Lou Wood could have said to them at any point, "Stop, just show us kissing or this." But they're going all root, Bill.
Yeah, are we editing that? Yeah, too hot. Hot mics right there. Oh, no.
Yeah.
She is completely topless, sitting on his lap. We're looking at it right now. He goes in and...
Nuzzles.
No, he doesn't nuzzle.
I'm trying to make it a nice... I know.
Don't worry. We're on the internet. You're okay.
I know.
He is suckling like an infant.
I know. And she said... And they had an intimacy coordinator on the set. They
I
talked about it all beforehand. And she was fine. It could have ended with a kiss.
I know. We're talking about Baldoni and Lively, and was there an intimacy coordinator or not for your very boring scenes? There's very little to no contact with them. It's the White Lotus. I mean, they must have had an intimacy, corporation there with multiple people.
Bill, what are your thoughts on Amy Lou Wood?
Amy Lou Wood, the young British actress, she's adorable. She's got the little buck teeth, She, and you think about this with people like, Enrique Iglesias or like Cindy Crawford or something. You've got a little thing like, there she is. Would you do you fix the teeth or whatever? I say, if she fixes those teeth, she just becomes okay. She's like, sort of average.
There's a million
cute,
of her.
Yes, cute people. Right. But there's only one with the adorable little teeth and the way she talks with him. and they work for her. In fact, they are her jam. But back to the intimacy coordinators here. This is going to get wild. It's already the second episode of The Lotus, and we have seen Patrick, and now we see Amy Lou, and I got a feeling if I see.
Well, we're going to see Gary or Greg. Remember, he was Greg in the previous episodes, the bald gentleman.
Jennifer Coolidge's con man of
That's
a lover.
correct.
Greg.
He's back.
He's bilking her for the money. Now he's here, and he's got a younger girl.
With a hooker.
Probably took Coolidge's money. Now he's got a hooker he's with, and he's up to no good. The White Lotus is unbelievable. We're going to get very deep into the Lotus as we go.
All
So
right.
fun.
We're going to change a little topic. The SAG Awards were last night. Timothée Chalamet won Best Actor. He played Bob Dylan, as you know.
Saw it.
Now, let's take a look at his acceptance speech. Let's roll that up
At
right
the SAG
now.
Awards?
Yep.
Okay.
I can't downplay the significance of this award because it means the most to me. And I know we're in a subjective business, but the truth is I'm really in pursuit of greatness. I know people don't usually talk like that, but I want to be one of the greats. I'm inspired by the greats. I'm inspired by the greats here tonight. I'm as inspired by Daniel Day-Lewis, Marlon Brando, and Viola Davis as I am by Michael Jordan and Michael Phelps, and I want to be up there. So I'm deeply grateful to that. This doesn't signify that, but it's a little more fuel. It's a little more ammo to keep going. Thank you so much.
Wow.
I thought it was terrific.
You think so?
Yeah.
It didn't hit me as like
It was authentic.
humble. I don't know. I want to
Wasn't
be one of the
humble.
greats.
He wants to be the best, and he was paying tribute to all those great ones, and I think he's got it in him.
You know what I would say? I want to be like Tom Cruise, Forget your awards and your statues. I want box office, baby.
I think he could do both.
I want to ring the register.
I think he could do both.
His outfit was horrendous. He was wearing
He was with his mother. He wasn't with Kylie.
He was wearing a leather suit with a bright lime green shirt.
Well, that might not have been the best thing to wear.
But, I know nothing about fashion. I mean, maybe somewhere Harry Styles and Jared Leto are sitting there going, hey, that's a hell of a look you got on there, Chalamet.
So who knows if he's going to win
He will be one of the greats. He's got the ability. Let's say that.
Absolutely. And I just like him. There's something about him I like. But the Oscars are Sunday. Bill, you going?
I'm not going to the Oscars this year.
This is breaking news here.
Yeah, no, it's every year I do the red carpet at the Oscars. The problem with the Oscars is every country, it's 250 countries, so you're wedged in between, Australia's G'day morning TV. We're live, can you just move a little? And then you got, then you got the other entertainment shows, and then you got all these people. Red carpets along the way, including the SAGs and the Golden Globes and everything else, these are their campaign stops because the ultimate is the Oscars. But at the Oscars, everything's done. It's done. They're not campaigning for anything. So a lot of the big ones don't do stop for interviews. You'll get plenty of interviews, but the big ones you want, the ones people are screaming for, like Chalamet, probably won't stop and talk to all these outlets. He doesn't need to anymore. So I finally was like, you know what? I'm an old fart, for the love of God. I've been doing this too long. So give someone else a chance. So no, I'm not going. I'm going to watch it at home.
And all you see is your arm anyway.
Yeah. That was a little secret about the Oscar red carpet is they have these hedges, and there's so many people they put in there. You have no room. So like the wardrobe person will come to me and say, you're not going to believe it. I've got you a beautiful brand new Ted Baker suit with embroidered lapels. You're going to like it. I said, yeah, well, how does the arm look? Because all you're going to see on camera is my arm and maybe the tip of my nose. It's too crowded in there. It doesn't matter what I'm wearing. You're certainly not going to see my shoes. Save it for someone. So,
all right, Bill, let's go to Luigi Mangione. He's the gent. He's the young man who killed Brian Thompson, the CEO of United Healthcare.
Yep.
He was in court on Friday, and there were 100 or 150 women outside holding up signs about marrying him,
Still going?
supporting him. Do you find this disturbing?
No.
Really?
I mean, yeah, but no. Like, they're just losers.
He's a murderer. An alleged murderer.
These are lonely people.
But he's not alleged, Bill.
Some guy,
it's on video.
These are people, that outside the Depp trial, these are people that, still wait and get autographs from outside of David Letterman. They're lonely. They're sad. I don't know. They're looking for something. They need it. They need an injection of something weird, different. I don't care about them.
They've raised like $500,000 in his defense too. I mean, there's been online. They've raised money for this guy.
He's not getting out.
I know. We've got the video.
He's not getting out, Luigi Mangione. So, you know what? Where does that money go? It's all going to go. Is he actually going to try and fight that I know he's pleading not guilty, but I mean, this is like, he's really going to go to court with all that? We're going to waste our time with this? We see you.
We are.
We see you, Luigi.
Right. Terrible.
Do you think the jury will be swayed? Do you think he should, shave the mini brow, the unibrow in the middle before he goes? He's not that handsome. I just wanted to. I'm just saying.
People think he's handsome.
He's not.
He's handsome.
He's not. I'll tell you who's handsome. Lester Holt is handsome. Lester Holt of the Nightly News on NBC is a handsome man. 10 years he's been in that chair. Remember why they brought him in? They brought him in because Brian Williams had a bit of a controversy and a scandal going there. He was suspended. They had to throw him out of the anchor chair. They ultimately brought him back to MSNBC, but he had sacrificed his credibility too much, making up some stories, injecting himself into news events like being in Blackhawks when he wasn't, or
embellishing things he didn't need to.
In the street with water flowing by and dead bodies in New Orleans that didn't happen. And they bring in Lester Holt. 10 years. He's now done.
So in the summer, he's leaving, staying with NBC, and he's going to dedicate himself to Dateline.
You know what? That's a beautiful spot for him to be in. I'm going to say Lester Holt is a journeyman. He's I know him very well. A lot of Olympics and overseas stuff, and I was at NBC News for a little while, as you know. Beautiful time there. Had a great time. God, they were terrific. He is one of the nicest people. He's a hardworking guy. And everybody likes him, and he was brought in to make the place safe and reliable, and he did his job. And I hope they paid him a lot. I hope Lester made a lot of money, and he goes in and tapes Dateline, and it takes him an hour, and he goes back home or, to his farm.
I don't know what his interests are, but he's
in great shape. He's always running.
And by the way, he was incredibly pleasant to be around. I only saw him at the Olympics when we were there, but he was always pleasant to be around.
So who replaces Lester Holt at NBC News on the dwindling anchor desk there? It's still a legendary desk. I mean, when I think of the NBC News desk, for me, it's Tom Brokaw, and I'll tell you why I loved him so much. 9/11, a terrible, terrible day, and everybody is anxious on the edge of their seats. They're feeling tons of anxiety, and I just remember the voice of Tom Brokaw and the way he can... talk to him. Billy, he had that way of Billy, the
47.
Yes, he rolled his L's like that. Billy, it's NBC Nightly News. And he had this way of calming things down. I thought he was one of the great newsmen. So
he was. Before then was Huntley Brinkley Report in the 60s. That was major.
I can tell you this about network news divisions. Oh, it is a jockeying dogfight in there right now. There is people talking behind backs and everything.
Tom Lamas.
Never heard of him.
Yeah, you've seen. He's very good. Hallie Jackson, Jose Diaz-Balart. They do the weekends.
I honestly couldn't put a face on Hallie Jackson. I saw last weekend.
Right. Him. Yeah. Tom Lamas does the lead story a lot on their news. He's very good. Very good.
Tom Lamas. How do you spell? Is it LL?
LLAMAS. You've seen him. Tom Lamas.
Lama.
Interesting. Just made the Today Show just made a change, and they moved Hoda left, and who replaced Hoda?
My great friend Craig Melvin.
I wonder if
I like Craig.
If this happened, if Hoda had not left, I wonder if Craig was up for that. Craig's kind of morning-y. I think he could do it. I was only at the Today Show for 2 months. It was brief, but I think I've said before, Craig and I had offices that were right next to each other. We shared a wall, and he loves music like me, and we both love to sing. We're both okay.
And so, he would hear me singing in my office, and then he would join in, and he would do it. And the walls were thin enough that, he would take a verse. I would finish it off. It was like a, call and answer kind of thing. Craig's a sweet guy. And the best thing I'll tell you about Craig is when NBC fired me and well, killed me, I was at a lunch somewhere, and he was in the parking lot with his wife and their kids. And he came up and just said, I can't believe, what they did to you. I go there every day. I'm just sick because I love you. You're a good guy. And we hugged it out. And I said, hey, thanks, man. Don't worry. Shit happens, buddy. And,
Bill, we're done with hot takes for
guy.
today. We're going to be back Wednesday, though.
That's it. Hot takes on Hot Mics is done. That's it for us. I'll tell you what, baby. We will be back here on Wednesday. Oh, so much exciting stuff on the horizon, which I'm excited about. White Lotus, I told you, we're going to get deep into this. Every cast member from the show every week, we're going to go nuts on that. A week from Wednesday, I talked to my friend Allie Larder on the phone. How happy are you for Allie Larder on Landman?
Exactly.
I mean, she lives, in a mountain state. She was, kind of doing a little and trying to get and then she got this gig and she has knocked it out of the park. They're leaving in a couple weeks to shoot season 2. Very happy about her. We're going to talk to a couple of legal minds.
So
Mark
Ali
Garriga.
Larder is a week from Wednesday.
Yeah.
Okay, beautiful. And then Monday, we'll have our recap with one of the cast members.
Of the White Lotus.
That's
it for Hot Mics with Billy Bush. It's presented by LA Golf. Take your swing to the next level like I did yesterday with poor Aaron Rodgers. He couldn't believe I was piping this thing down the center like I was. Cutting edge technology. The new driver is available where they're going to test your swing speed and match the head of the club to your swing speed. You'll be hitting balls like you wouldn't believe. I sound like Trump, like you wouldn't believe. You're going to be so tired of winning. Visit lagolf.com and upgrade your game. You can always listen to us exclusively on TuneIn. Ask your Alexa or Google, play Hot Mics with Billy Bush on TuneIn. And if you missed a show, you can go to tunein.com/hotmics to catch up on previous episodes. That's it for us. Thank you for watching and listening on TuneIn. Back Wednesday.